Okay, course 3, today we are starting lesson 25, multiplying and dividing decimal numbers. Once again, this should be a review for all of you because we have been doing multiplying and dividing decimals since about 5th grade. So we are going to go through the rules of multiplying decimals first. The first rule, I haven't finished all of them, so the first rule is do not. And what don't you have to do in multiplication and division, or multiplication that you have to do in addition and subtraction? You do not have to line up decimals. And then how do you decide which number goes on top? If you have 2 digits, it doesn't have to be the largest number. You place the number with the most digits on the top. And then you just multiply like normal. Multiply as normal. When you are done multiplying and you've added all of your numbers together, what do you have to do now? You have to count the decimal places. And how do you put your decimal point in your answer? You place from the left. You count. Okay, that was a mistake on my part. You do not. You start at the right and move to the left. So you place from the right towards the left. So for instance, we are going to look at this problem which says 4/10 times 215 thousandths. 4/10 is a larger number, but 215 thousandths has more digits. This is a 4-digit number. This is a 2-digit number, or places. So I'm going to put 215 thousandths on top. I'm going to put 4/10 right underneath it. Line up by the right-hand side of the problem. Notice the decimals are not lined up. And when I do the problem, I'm ignoring decimals completely. So 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 0 is 0. I now go back and count my decimal places. When you're reviewing, it's good to mark it. There are 3 digits after the decimal place in the first number. There is only 1 digit after the decimal place in the second number, for a total of 4 decimal places. I start at the right and I move in 4 decimal places. And I place my decimal point. At this point, I need to rewrite my answer because I have an extraneous 0 here and I do not have a marking 0 in the ones place. So I write my answer like that, 0 and 86 thousandths. If you have a problem like this one, which says 6 times 4 3/10, once again, 6 is the larger number, but 4 3/10 has more digits. So 4 3/10 is going to go on the top. 6 is going to go on the bottom. You're going to multiply. And then you have to count your decimal places. There is 1 decimal place, 1 digit after the decimal place in this number. What about 6? 6 does have a decimal point. All whole numbers have a decimal point. They come at the end of the number. There are no digits after the decimal place. So in here, you would have 1 decimal place in your answer. And your answer is 25 8/10. And this makes sense because if you rounded this, it would be 6 times 4 is 24. And 25 8/10 is very close to that. We're now going to go to division. When you are dividing decimals, your divisor must be a whole number. And so you have to take the steps necessary to make your divisor a whole number. If you had 4 2/10 divided by 0 6/10, your divisor is a decimal. What do you need to multiply 6 by in order to make it a whole number? Well, you can multiply it by 10, which is moving your decimal point one place to the right, and so your new divisor would be 6. If you multiply your divisor by 10, you need to multiply your dividend by 10, and that would become 42, and your answer would be 7. One thing you have to remember is your dividend can have decimal places in it. It's only the divisor that needs to be a whole number. So if you had 0.6 as your divisor and 4.26 as your dividend, once again you would be multiplying by 10, and you'd be multiplying by 10 here. When you move your decimal point over, the smart thing to do is to bring it up immediately so that you don't forget to bring it up. Subtract, and your answer would be 7.1. If they ask you, if your car drives 236.4 miles and uses 9.6 gallons of gas, and they want the number of miles per gallon, well, it's that many miles with this many gallons. What are you going to have to do? You have to change this to a whole number, multiply by 10, change this to a whole number, and multiply by 10. When you're dividing this, this will go in here twice, and you need to subtract. 96 goes into 444 4 times. You can't have a remainder. So the next thing you need to do is add a 0. That's going to go in 6 times. And you subtract again. Another remainder, add another 0. You're going to do this until it comes out even, or you've gone 3 or 4 places. And finally, we have 96 goes into 480, and that would be 5 times. So this was the number of miles, this was the number of gallons, so this represents 24.625 miles per gallon. If they tell you to round to the nearest whole number, you would have 25 miles per gallon. You can either write MPG or you can write M/G. On page 167 of your book, there is an decimal arithmetic reminder that you can use to see how to do addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of decimals. If that's helpful to you, you might want to copy that into your notebook. Here's another problem that might give you a little bit of trouble. Written this way, it says 3 divided by 6/100ths. You can't change these to fractions and do division of fractions. It says 3 divided by, so 0 and 6/100ths is your divisor. You need to multiply this by 100 to make it a whole number. So you also have to multiply this by 100, the 3 by 100, which is moving your decimal point 2 places to the right. So your problem comes out to 300 divided by 6, which is 50. So make sure that you're watching what you're doing there. And that's it. So your practice set on page 167 has problems A through I. And so if you will do those and write down any questions or things that you get mixed up on when you're multiplying and dividing decimals and bring those to class, that would be great. And good luck doing your problems.